This is the Real Digital Transformation podcast series, empowering technology and business professionals to succeed with digital transformation. Now, here's your host, best-selling author and series editor of the Pearson Digital Enterprise series, Thomas Earl.
Hi, this is Thomas Earl, and welcome to another episode of the Real Digital Transformation podcast series. I'm happy to have with me today Eric Barcelō, who is the cloud architect at JP Morgan Chase and also a former co-author of mine on the book Cloud Computing, Concepts, Technology, Security, and Architecture. Eric, welcome.
Thank you, Thomas.
It's been a while since we talked, and since then, a lot has happened in the cloud computing space, most notably how AI has infiltrated various aspects of cloud computing infrastructure and technology and feature sets. And that's something that continues to evolve and advance and introduce various new considerations that IT professionals and project managers and architects in particular have to pay attention to in order to understand and to utilize and to be prepared for. So I guess my first question for you, Eric, is give us an overview based on your insights and experience as to how AI has changed the cloud computing infrastructure landscape.
Well, Thomas, this is a very broad question.
Yeah,
the answer could take too long because the evolution of AI, and particularly on the cloud, has been tremendous in the last few years, especially in the last couple of years, if you will. But I think one of the most important impacts that AI has brought to the cloud is the necessity to increase the availability of processing capacity that AI needs for training models and in training the different components that AI technology is bringing forth, and also very quickly. So this is one of the most important impacts, I would say, related to infrastructure and also the consumption of power that infrastructure is going to require. So unfortunately, the bigger impact is not so much on the results of the technology because that is given. The requirements that need to be fulfilled are, and that are still pending, are related to processing capacity and the power required for that processing capacity to run. So at this moment, all of the big cloud providers are running to build the data centers that are going to be required by the developers of these sophisticated and ever more capable AI models, the LLMs and all of the different versions of those. And I think that's what's really worrying the industry mostly or more than anything. Now, on the other hand, this quick evolution has also caught by surprise many players in the field with respect to how quickly are we going to achieve this sometimes feared and other times really desired stage at which systems running on computers will be more intelligent than human beings, and not only at an individual scale, but overall. And that is something that has also showed up recently as a very, very important concern in AI. And
so let me interrupt you. Sorry, what you just brought up, is that a concern that you've seen raised specifically in relation to how AI is being embedded into cloud infrastructure environments, that there may be AI systems that are doing things for operational requirements, but that may be learning things or maybe developing behaviors that are of concern? Is that sort of is that a cloud infrastructure specific concern that you've encountered?
I was going to say it's more like the fact that there will be resources and cloud providers are running to build the capacity that is required for these more sophisticated AI systems to run makes it more concerning. If that weren't the case, if at this point we were at a stage at which the blocker was, yeah, AI can continue to evolve, but we don't have enough, power to run the systems, and who knows when it will be available, and then we're blocked at growth in the AI technologies in general, it would be a different story. But it's not the case. I think that the role of cloud providers and the cloud in general in enabling this technology and enabling that future that I mentioned, which is feared by some but desired by many others, is thanks to cloud computing. I would say cloud has enabled that capacity to be available as soon as possible, of course, so that AI can continue to evolve as fast or even faster than it has in the recent years.
Okay, but that is a concern related to how cloud computing empowers AI systems to scale, to grow, to develop and evolve. That's a scenario where we build our AI solution using cloud resources. We leverage those resources and then develop and evolve what we're building. The other aspect of this conversation is how, and maybe you can provide also some insights regarding that, is how are cloud providers natively using AI within cloud infrastructure? How are the cloud environments themselves changing now, or how have they changed through using AI throughout the resources they provide in terms of elasticity and scaling and failover and responsiveness and tracking and monitoring and how and where have you seen AI being used natively within the cloud infrastructure itself?
Yes. Well, mostly I would say in the observability area of things, if you will. So cloud providers are using AI to analyze the data that is generated by the systems that are running from their different consumers, and leveraging that to make faster decisions on how to grow their own resources on one side, and also providing more intelligent, if you will, assessment of how customers are using those resources and how they could benefit from making several or different kinds of changes or adjustments to use those resources more efficiently is one thing, because reducing the cost of using cloud resources in general from a client perspective is one of the trends in cloud computing these days, definitely. And AI can help in finding different ways of enhancing that, but also using them more efficiently in the sense of making use of the optimal resources that are required by different cloud computing loads in their own environments. So mostly in the analyses of all of those results that come from the observability tools in cloud environments, and providing recommendations both internally and to customers about how to use these resources more effectively, more efficiently as well.
So if I'm a customer and I'm contracting with a cloud provider now, and I want to use some of the resources for a project, and I build my applications within those using those resources exclusively within the cloud. Uh, what is AI doing behind the scenes? Is it tracking usage? Is it optimizing things for my applications that I'm not aware of, but it's doing it automatically? Is it tracking different types of metrics or logging different types of things that may be of benefit to me later if I have to do certain types of reporting on failure conditions or usage patterns or scalability fluctuations or whatnot? Like, I'm just wondering, my experience as a customer today, leasing cloud resources, how has that changed? How has that changed compared to perhaps if I was doing that 3 or 5 years ago? Does AI make a difference in terms of my experience, in terms of my cost benefit, in terms of the application performance? Has it made a significant difference in that, or has it not been that significant yet?
It has definitely, but depending on when you stand, I would say. I haven't seen cloud providers apply any automated results from artificial intelligence analyses to directly affect your current infrastructure. Because, I mean, that as a customer, I wouldn't even want that. I doesn't matter if it is a good recommendation that the AI has come up with. I would like to review it before it is even applied. That's from a client perspective. However, from a vendor perspective, the infrastructure that each cloud provider themselves is able to manage, to optimize the way that they offer their services to all of their clients, that I'm sure does benefit from, because automation is a key component of cloud providers' capabilities, is benefited by the application of I would say new characteristics, new features, new capabilities in an automated way. But they are available to clients. They are not automatically applied to the services that clients are already using. On the other hand, AI recommendations or AI-derived recommendations are definitely available for clients in many of the, of course, depending on the level of usage that you give to those resources, but you have access to AI-derived recommendations and optimization suggestions, if you will, that you can apply. Many times automatically, and in other cases, you would have to modify your architecture based on how you have deployed it originally. It really depends on a case by case how you are using the resources from the cloud provider.
So if I'm building a new solution today in a brand new cloud environment, I can expect that cloud environment to give me a new set of features that may not have existed a few years ago, whereby the infrastructure allocation, resource allocation, performance, and so on are further enhanced and optimized, and perhaps give me other intelligent type of functions or insights because of there being a new feature set that is AI enabled.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. What about on the other side, from a cloud provider's perspective? What are cloud providers using AI for their benefit, for their ability to further optimize resources, or perhaps doing other types of analysis to better understand how their cloud environments and service are being used? I guess from a reporting perspective, they're probably doing that. But is there anything more that cloud providers are using AI for in terms of the runtime management, administration, or just overall, governance of their cloud environments?
Yes, and most importantly, in terms of capacity planning, the cloud providers in general are using AI to help them define how their cloud is going to grow in terms of resources, in terms of new technologies, in terms of uh, capabilities that can be built in the future for the benefit of their clients. So it's more thinking about the future than actually managing the existing environments. The existing environments are already managed by automated tools that have been running. I'm sure that they have been enhanced with some results of analyses. I'm not sure how much of actual AI, like what we hear about more recently, they are using, but definitely for future planning and in the design of how these new services or new capabilities will be deployed. Definitely AI is highly involved. That is for sure. Now, of course, AI is also has a fundamental role in helping every single team that develops these features and that is actually implementing the changes and the services that will be offered in the future to customers in developing these more quickly and more effectively, because one of the most important uses of AI right now is in helping developers code faster and even better.
Right. And being able to do so natively within a cloud environment probably ties directly into everything we've discussed. Yeah. And and solutions themselves, I guess traditionally solutions were built using serverless platforms and clouds. And does AI tie into that at all in terms of how the underlying servers are clustered or dynamically allocated, or does the infrastructure itself become more inherently intelligent?
Yeah, you touched a very important point. I mentioned before that in most of the cases, the results of analyses based on artificial intelligence technologies were not directly applied to the infrastructure that customers are already using in cloud environments. That changes when we talk about serverless, because serverless in any of their flavors, serverless, there are many types of serverless databases, serverless runtime infrastructure, and so on. Those are guaranteed to be managed by the cloud provider, not so much by the client. The client simply makes use and receives the benefit of being able to store or run, or whatever the case may be, on those serverless environments. So making changes at any point in time is something that the provider can do, and definitely dedicates AI-related resources and analytics to enhance those environments all the time and make them more efficient, more effective. It's for the benefit of the client, who still doesn't really know what's going on, behind the scenes. Only expects that the requirements that, as a client, he has established in front of the cloud provider are always fulfilled. And if they can be better fulfilled, then he only benefits from that. The cloud provider, on the other hand, benefits from providing a better service to the client and also making their own infrastructure more efficient and more cost effective as well. So I'm sure that in that particular side of serverless services that cloud providers offer, they couldn't benefit a lot on using AI to automatically manage and enhance the services they provide.
Okay, and then I guess as a final primary consideration, do you have any thoughts about how the introduction of AI within cloud infrastructure has affected the typical security considerations we take into account when putting our data in the cloud, putting our applications in the cloud, relying on the cloud, forming dependencies on it? with AI being a native part of that environment, does that improve security for what we invest there, or does that introduce new risks, or does it do both?
Well, yeah, the use of artificial intelligence in security-related services is actually one of the oldest applications of AI in cloud environments and in security in general, security services in general as well. So definitely all cloud providers offer services that are based on AI to continuously learn from new attacks and new attack patterns from malicious actors and be able to defend the cloud environment, first of all, and also the customer's own environments by providing more intelligent and more effective tools at all times. So yes, cloud providers can provide you WAF services, for example, for web application firewall protection that is AI enabled or can be AI enabled and can automatically adapt to new attack patterns, as well as other types of security tools or application protection tools. For example, bot attack protection tools. Bots are one type of attack environments or attack vectors that can benefit from AI themselves as attackers from the outside. So using AI to protect against that is almost mandatory, and many of the cloud providers that offer those kinds of protections definitely rely on AI to protect better, and both their clients and the cloud environment per se itself. That's for sure.
We're at a point where it's a given that any cloud environment of significance would have that type of built-in AI functionality to track usage, to counter usage, to develop intelligence around attack patterns and so on. That's would you say that's now like a default feature in any primary cloud environment?
Yes, I would say so. It's kind of behind the scenes as well, although some providers directly offer it as an enhancement to the services that they provide to their customers. But it's definitely there. It is. I would say it is a given for sure.
Okay, awesome, Eric. Thank you so much. This has been very insightful. It looks like a space in the industry that will only continue to evolve on both ends, on the consumer and on the provider sides, in terms of how it evolves and increases sophistication. It'll be interesting to see what more it will impact cloud environments in good ways, or if new risks are also introduced. But I guess as a concluding question or comment, if you were to advise cloud architects today, maybe the top 3 things to focus on primarily in relation to understanding and utilizing native AI features in the cloud, what would they be?
Well, I would say, first of all, make sure that the recommendations from the cloud provider in terms of how to better design your architectures on their own cloud environments are well understood and followed, because many times those recommendations themselves have been enhanced after having been developed with knowledge from analyses based on AI. So the recommendations that each cloud provider gives you on how to deploy your resources better and more efficiently are very important. They must be followed. On the other hand, look for the use of observability tools that are most effective in measuring whatever non-functional requirements you may have, and look for those that are, or maybe AI enhanced as well. The cloud provider will let you know which observability tools or specific metrics can be used to teach or train rather models that are based on our artificial intelligence and can help you eventually identify issues better, or even hidden issues from patterns that might not be very obvious using those tools. So I think those are the most important recommendations on using the observability tools that the cloud provider has at hand for you. Try to pick those that may be based on or enhanced by AI or machine learning related models, and take advantage of that. And also make sure that you review the vendors, the cloud providers' recommendations on how to deploy your architectures more effectively, more efficiently, because those are also usually enhanced by the results of deep analyses performed by the cloud providers themselves.
Super. Okay, Eric, thank you so much for your time today, and let's talk again soon. I would enjoy a separate conversation sometime to drill down a bit on some of the more specific aspects of cloud architecture and how AI is used with those types of resources, and perhaps also talk more about the relationship between cloud infrastructure and agentic AI, which I can also see evolving. But until then, Eric, thank you again for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, and I hope to see you soon then.
Thank you for listening. Follow Thomas on LinkedIn